Hello and welcome along to a brand new episode and a brand new season from this FM21 Build a Nation story with Bangor City with me, Daniel. We're back today to start off our European campaign in season 17, and of course because of the progress of the nation and where we are in the European club coefficients now, we're actually coming back after the start of the domestic season, I think possibly for the first ever time. So we're making real progress here. We're able to start our league campaign on time, not be quite so many fixtures behind very early on. So if you're looking forward to finding out what's happened in the summer for Welsh football, what's happened for us as a club, and of course how the other Welsh sides are getting on in Europe, 5 teams in Europe this year, and 3 of them all but guaranteed group stage football, then please do put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily FM21 content. It's a great way to start the week, this one. New videos every weekday at 3:30. You can catch up with loads of the other playlists and the Twitch channel in the eye above. There's also a little bonus matchday vlog there from last week too. So thank you again for your incredible support. We've got what should be a very winnable tie on paper in Europe. We are playing against a Romanian side with 2.5-star reputation, so we're actually a bigger club than them now. If we look at their greyed out players, they're good, but they're not as good as us. They're a solid sort of League One level, very much 10s, 11s, 12s across the board attribute wise, apart from that guy who's very good. But they're a side we should be beating, and I'm hoping we can have plain sailing, get through in the first leg, and then maybe even beat TNS as well as part of this episode. But we'll see if we can get 2 games in because we've got a lot to cover off the pitch. Let's start as always with Bangor City individually. It's been an interesting summer. We mentioned before it that we were probably going to have a little bit more of an overhaul, getting rid of a few of the older players or the backup players and trying to promote youth from within. And to be fair, we've managed to do that so far. Kresimir Loza's the only one left that might yet be going out. We've had Mackenzie on the transfer list. We've not been able to get any interest in him despite his form last season. But let's have a look at what has happened, because going out, there are a few fairly familiar names in there. 3 of which permanently, nearly £10 million raised between them, a couple more on loan that are well known too. And then coming in, we've actually got 3 first team players, one of them very familiar, and a couple of others that might be a little more surprising. So let's start with the outs. We knew that Peter Holding was going, and we knew that Jordan Williams, the youngster, was going. No massive surprises there. Martin Pasiarek did feature when he came back from loan in January last year, albeit sporadically. He moves on permanently to Benfica for £3.5 million up front. And ironically, he's actually helped Benfica against one of the other Welsh sides. So that didn't work out quite so well. But a really good player, a solid one. And the dilemma was that he was homegrown at the club. But he's not good enough. He was 4th or 5th choice. And we couldn't justify that with 2 brilliant homegrown youngsters coming behind him. So he's off and Benfica will benefit from having him at the club. Alex Clark went on loan to Colwyn Bay. The only reason I'm mentioning that one, Colwyn Bay qualified for Europe ahead of Bala. He was at Bala last year. Colwyn Bay have had the biggest transfer window in Welsh football. The other clubs have actually disappointed a bit. Colwyn Bay have been brilliant. And we'll see what effect that's had in a moment. Yes, then Weaver went on loan again to Dundalk. We just couldn't get rid of him permanently. Fulham bid, where he was on loan last year, but he barely played. He didn't enjoy the loan spell, and as a result, he's rejected them. But we're getting all of his wages paid. It makes sense. A good servant for our football club, and we deserve at the very least to send him off for first team football. Christian Bellis has gone on loan to Newtown. He's turned 17 now and will benefit the Welsh Premier League club. They're another one the last few windows that have improved, trying to get away from that relegation pack and really become a competitive force in this league. However, we had 2 big sales after that. Stefan Matai to Stoke, £3.6 million. Again, we'll talk about how the league reputations rise in a moment, but we saw another little jump in player values this year, which considering the star rating of the league and the club hasn't changed, is pretty incredible. But it means we get good money for a player that wasn't featuring for us, has been a little disappointing overall, and didn't really get any football in his loan spell at Luton last year. So Stoke, probably going to benefit from him, but I'll be surprised if he's more than a backup there. And then Alex Pena, we got him on a free last summer. He went on loan the second half of last year to Levante. And now Brentford seems to be a fairly common path now, is Bangor City to Brentford. And he's gone for £2.3 million. He'll be a brilliant servant for them. But we had to do what's right for the club. He didn't suit the way we were playing. And unfortunately, he wasn't particularly happy because we kept trying to let him go. We've got great youngsters coming through. Pena wasn't going to fit in. So it made sense. And they've offered him a massive contract. What all of that means, alongside the transfer window we had in January, is that we had a couple of little gaps in the squad we needed to fill, either short term or long term. And we've done that with 3 signings. So let's get the other one out the way first. Alex Jenkins, just a youngster. The reason I've brought him in, he's okay, probably not ever going to make it here, but he's one that was homegrown at the club, poached at 15 by Leicester. So we've brought him back in just to get a bit of a youth development with us and hopefully give him a career in the game in Wales or in the professional leagues in the UK. Let's start though with a familiar name for the big 3, Roberto Simancas, the only signing of the summer who will be first choice. We managed to get him on a contract where he'd be a rotation option as well. He's fantastic, he needs no introduction, conceded 15 goals in 79 league games. What a legend, in Europe he's been influential. Roberto Simancas is our number 1 permanently. However, we still needed a deputy. Joshua Pugh out of contract. We've got him on a month-to-month, but he didn't want to sign a new deal. We know that George Wickens left in January, and a couple of the other youngsters didn't really develop. So Ayrton Agost is the man who comes in. A free agent, an Argentinian youngster, 2.5 ability, 3-star potential. I think he's a very good backup keeper. He could probably play at certainly League One, maybe Championship level, if we're looking at the English game. And that's an incredible feat for someone who's a backup keeper here. He's on a cheap wage, he's a very young player, he can improve yet further. And I just think he's going to be a superstar. He's played in 2 games already as a backup team member, and we've won them both. He's kept a clean sheet in 1. I can't ask for much more. So Agost is the new number 2. And then we've gone for a bit of experience. We're trying to, where possible, if we just need to fill a void for say a year or so, bring in a little bit of squad depth that's formerly played for Wales or has got that national reputation. We did it with Jack Vale up front before, and now in midfield, with Pena and with Bellis moving on, we've got in Dwayne Bamford. Now he is 31 years of age. Sam Hunt hasn't come back either, so we have got 3 voids to fill in the squad there. 31 years of age, 17 caps for Wales, only wanted 500 quid a week, which was remarkable. He's got 3-star ability, he's still very solid, and he's got a good engine in terms of being a box-to-box player. He can also play at centre-half, he can play anywhere in the midfield diamonds, and he's got loads of experience for Luton Town, for Middlesbrough and for Atalanta. He's played for big clubs in Europe, he's played for my beloved team, and he's an international footballer. There is not much more we could ask for. Dwayne Bamford, as an experienced pro in the squad, is just a fantastic signing to have here. He's played a couple of games already, done really well, got a goal on his debut. And I just think, for a player who's going to play, 15 to 20 games in a season, you can't ask for much more than that. And he is a good championship player still. And I think that sort of signing now shows you how strong our squad is. So really pleased with that one too. Let's have a look at the schedule to see how that's impacted our results so far. Just the 2 games. The first one a little bit worrying at home to Gresford. A 6-3 victory. 4 goals for Gethin Davis. A bizarre defensive display. And Bamford and Walters with 1 apiece. So actually Whelan and Jennings played centre-half. They were fine. The problem was when I took off Henry McWilliams and brought on young Leo Blake back from loan with Bala as the holding midfielder, we just completely collapsed. It was a really bizarre thing defensively. We managed to survive it, of course, but there were certainly some concerns in that defensive display. Pretty much the same team, though, did bounce back against Aberystwyth in the league. A 4-0 victory with a Kresimir Loza hat-trick and 1 for Carlton Broadbent. Unfortunately, Gethin Davis couldn't play in that game. Another injury, which is our only big concern about him, but still looks a fantastic player either way. We had the Euros in the summer in which Wales participated. I want to show you that very quickly because it was massive for us as a team. Because if we go and have a look at how they performed, they did really well for a starter. They got to the quarter-final. But if I show you that game as well, Harvey Lloyd started virtually every game. Matty Whitaker started 2 or 3. And Kyo Bulkley, bar that quarter-final where I think he was suspended, started every match beforehand. So we're starting to have a real imprint in this Wales international team. And I know we were rejected for Ian Bennett, but the fact that he managed domestically in the Welsh League means he is utilising the domestic players, and that is a real positive for the nation. A funny thing though happened. We were offered the England job after the Euros. So we got rejected for the Wales job because the TNS manager applied, but then we got offered the England job. That just shows you how unfortunate we were. Having said that, we've got an exciting season to look forward to with Bangor City, and we've got 5 teams in Europe. We did retain our place in 12th in the European Club Coefficient list. If I show you that very quickly, we're not particularly comfortable at the moment. We're at risk of Denmark overtaking us this year, so we've got to have a big season, and we've got to get our sides to do well. What might help that is some of the transfer news we've got from the likes of Colwyn Bay, who are a little bit further down. So Barrytown United and TNS were both guaranteed group stage football. It does become a little bit of a problem for us though, and I've mentioned this before when I've said that TNS have been disappointing in this save, and a few times in the comments people have said, well yeah, but that's because you're dominating a nation and they're not winning a league. But don't forget, they didn't win it at the start when we were bottling it. It was Barrytown that did it. And even so last year, TNS, don't forget, had 2 years of Europa League or Europa Conference group stage money there. We're talking about £5-6 million, when the other clubs in the nation are getting 100 grand, if that. And TNS still couldn't finish second. Barrytown United did that. TNS lost over 10 games, and then Cardiff Met Uni and Colwyn Bay found their way in. What's been positive this season, though, is that although Barrytown United lost, they didn't get battered against Benfica, and they will be in the Europa League group stages. We saw that last season with TNS. If they're losing the third qualifier, they go straight into the groups. Even though, if you look at the European Club Coefficient screen, it says they were going to be starting in the second qualifying round. But I'm not going to complain. It's guaranteed them group stage football. The benefit of moving up to the top 12 in the coefficient list is that TNS get into the Europa League, go straight to the playoffs. Now, they've got an arguably winnable game against Boleslav of the Czech Republic. But regardless, they will be in either the Europa League or the Europa Conference group stages. A massive achievement for Welsh football. Cardiff Met Uni were fourth, of course going to the Europa Conference third qualifying round. Let's see how they got on. They beat Brno over 2 legs, albeit it was only on away goals and they lost the second leg. They've got through a European tie against a pretty decent side, and it's both of those 2 strikers we highlighted as very good who got the goals. Loads of injuries picked up, which might explain their second leg performance, but they now face one of our head coach legendary clubs from the other save, Dundee, in the fourth qualifier. They could reach the group stages if they win that, but it's a big ask for a team from a playable league. The other ones were Colwyn Bay, and this, I think, is shock of the summer. Second qualifying round they went into. Look at them. They won 2 legs in a row against Zarkovo. Really good result there, 3-0 on aggregate. Got through against Vaduz on penalties. Won the away leg 2-0, then struggled at home. They now face Sporting Lisbon in the playoff round. Now, I think it's fair to say they're not going to reach the group stages. But regardless, an unbelievable effort. What we've got to hope with this though, 3 sides in the group stages for the first time. Loads of qualifiers won. Maybe Cardiff Met Uni can pull off a shock. Now invest that money, get transfers in, and let's see this league really go. I'm hoping that's what this end of August and January will achieve. For us though, we've got to complete our side of the bargain. We only need to win 1 game this year to get through to the Champions League group stages, and I'm pretty confident we'll be able to do it. So let's go and head into the game against Romanian opposition, and hope the result on the night matches what we're expecting. We'll go and make our changes, we'll run through the 11. We'll be back in a moment to discuss the lineup. Okay, call me stupid, but I am confident enough that I've taken some risks. We're going to partner Tom Jones and Kyo Bulkley, 2 number 10s in the team, and we're also going to put Jennings on the bench ahead of Bamford to try and give us more of a youthful side on the bench if we're winning comfortably. What we have got though this season is a concerning midfield. Because we haven't replaced Sam Hunt, we need either Ludomir Srom or, as had been planned, for Gethin Davis to step up. Now, we don't know if he's going to have injury concerns all year. If he does, you could argue we're a bit light in that position. Still a comfortable squad for this game though. We've got Semankas in between the sticks, his first start since he joined us on a permanent basis. And this lineup hasn't really played together this year yet, just bizarrely because of the way that the scheduling's worked out, with us coming in at a later stage and the proximity between the games beforehand. We've got McDonald and Bektas at fullback with Kelly and Whittaker at centre half. Kelly will probably be off next summer, but this year we're going to make the most of his experience. Harvey Lloyd, Ruben Reyes, Kyo Bulkley and Tom Jones, the midfield diamond, with Gordon and Walters up front. Youth and quality on the bench. This should be a very exciting night. It's an opposition that we wouldn't normally expect to be playing at this standard. We'd expect to have a really tough playoff game. And I know this might sound really arrogant, but I feel like we can give this side a pasting. So let's see if we can get the result and hopefully show the progress that Welsh football is making. Okay, so a pretty unfamiliar opposition lineup. We know very much what our job is here tonight, and we know our players very well. I don't think there are any actual new players in the team. It's only Semankas making a second debut as such. We will see a couple come in during the season, and we have in the league games already. But unless someone really top class comes up, I'm not going to sacrifice promoting the youngsters this year. Because at the moment, while we've got a year or two before the Welsh League really develops, I think we can afford it. 15 minutes gone here though, and my prophecy hasn't come true. It's been a lot of possession, but not one shot on goal. And with a quarter of the game gone, I'm a little bit concerned. I think that would be fair to say. We're going to demand more as they've got a free kick on the edge of their own box. It's given away to Kai McDonald. Into Lloyd Goulding. He's running behind very well here. And that is a good finish. Simple as you like. And now we're in the lead. In control of the tie. And we've got to make it count. And it is the one thing we've got to bear in mind here, particularly for the first leg. This is a side that hasn't played a lot of football. Most of the players not match fit yet. Extended leave because of some being away at the Euros. And now getting to the start of the season and coming in at the playoff round. We've not really had that combination before. And we've only had one shot on target in 43 minutes as a result. Not the best half of football at all. And maybe match fitness is more important than we think. Because normally by now, we've played 3 or 4 European games already. So we'll be hoping for a little more in the second half. We've tried to give them a little mini boot up the backside. But there's a couple of players that haven't performed that well. Kane Waters has looked off it up front. Bektas not had a great game. And we've still only had one shot on target, which is a massive concern at the hour mark. I was about to make changes, but we've got a highlight now. So let's see how this pans out, because I'm starting to get a little bit worried. It's one shot on target apiece, and we're quite fortunate to be ahead, you could argue. As the switch of play goes towards Kai McDonald, who nicks in. Goulding's down the line. We've got to break away incisively. Goulding goes past one. Gets to the edge of the box. The shot's down to the keeper's left. But it wasn't enough to beat him. It was a little bit telegraphed. We've just under half an hour to go. It's time for some changes. So Bektas nervous. He'll be replaced by Dimitar Nenov. We're going to bring on Loza for Kane Waters. And I'm also going to bring on Lubomir Srom for Tom Jones, who's not had the best game. Bulkley will go up to his preferred number 10 role. And at this stage of the season, don't forget, Kyo Bulkley's having his annual strop. This year it's Tottenham rather than Liverpool or Manchester United or Borussia Dortmund this season. But it's only 1-0 and we should be doing better than this. Let's encourage a bit more. Can we get a reaction? Because with 10 to go, I feel like we need a second. As Goulding gets the ball on the right wing. Back to McDonald. Through ball cleared away. Pintilli does the good bit of defending there. Whittaker to Harvey Lloyd. And now Kai McDonald again. Haven't really seen him maraud forward too much though. That's a great ball in. I'm not sure who played Lloyd Goulding onside. But will certainly take it. It was a missed interception by the fullback. Lloyd Goulding poaching as he does so often. And it's 2-0 with 7 minutes to go. And that just about wraps up the tie. If it had been 1, we probably would have been on a knife edge. But we're only going to get better now as we get fit. As it's flicked on from a long ball forward. We don't want to concede the away goal. Whittaker wins the header, but it's back out to Natescu, the left back. Can we poach it and get a third? That would be the dream here, as the switch of play finds Katiga. He goes wide to his fullback. Still showing a bit of a threat, the Romanians here. And they go down the line without much pressure at all. Back to Yanashe. Can we get possession back? Because they've left a 2-on-3 at the back where they're trying to get back into the tie and get that away goal. And Jordanescu picks up possession in the middle to Katarama. Srom the sub nicks it. Finds Loza on the left. We've got a 4-on-2. He finds Srom in the box. Just wide of the post. It was a great opportunity to win the tie and get it all wrapped up. We're going to be comfortable. We'll win the second leg. But maybe not as convincing as I expected it to be. And that's what happens, I guess, when you underestimate the opposition. A good side, very well structured, and they did limit us to very few chances. But it's a comfortable win, and it looks like we're going to have a safe passage to the Champions League group stages. What we're going to do, though, I don't think we've got time to squeeze the TNS game in. We're going to get to our weekend match, see how the sides have got on in all of their European qualifiers, and see what's happening with the Welsh transfer window very quickly. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we're back on a Sunday. We've reached the TNS game. You can see the competition reputation over there. Up to 17th, almost caught the championship now. And most of the big boys have started pretty well this season in the league. Colwyn Bay, Cardiff Met Uni won their first match. And TNS, 2 wins out of 2. Barry, 7 points out of 9. However, I want to show you very quickly their results on Thursday night. Because TNS looks like Europa League rather than Europa Conference. Big 2-0 win at home to Boleslav. In terms of Cardiff Met Uni, still very much in the tie. A 2-1 defeat at home to Dundee. Colwyn Bay, unfortunately a bit too much. A 3-0 defeat at Sporting Lisbon. However, there is transfer news which I promised I'd show you. The first one is one that we're potentially looking to sign. He's out with an injury at the moment, but he's a free agent, so he's someone who we might have in by the next episode. Nick Smith is a Cypriot international, had played for Chelsea, never made a senior league appearance, had a good loan at Exeter and is a very good footballer. So I'm kind of hoping, because Exeter were a League One club, and they were doing pretty well as well. I'm hoping he'll be a player we can bring in as a squad addition. Can play wing back, can play centre mid and can play as a number 10. Just gives us an extra option in there and a natural box to box as well. So we'll make a bid for him on deadline day, I think. Let's have a look though at what's happened with the rest of the league. It's been a weird old window. We've finally seen a few big signings now. Barrytown United gone for our former youngster Colin Thomas. Not the best physically but good elsewhere. And Cardiff Met Uni, they make a habit of bringing in big experienced players. And they've finally done that in Emir Gornal. He's a right back and wing back. Where has he played before? He was at Salford, Walsall and Preston. But a really good player as well. So I'm hopeful he'll be a good addition for them. Maybe, as you saw he made his debut in the week, he'll even be able to help against Dundee in the second leg. Be a massive shock if one of those two could make it to the group stages. TNS have had a really disappointing window. If I show you them as a club, considering they still finished third, they'd still guaranteed European group stage football. They've just fallen backwards. Nasri Musa Mahmoud is their biggest signing of the summer. He's a good player, but he's the only one of that ilk that's come in. Otherwise, a few freebies, few cheap ones and a few backups. Moving down the league very quickly, I want to show you a couple of clubs in particular. Bala Town have invested in a lot of players, but maybe not massive upgrades. Barrytown United have picked carefully, but brought in a few very good squad additions to work around a good side. And they are going to be in the European group stages. So maybe when that money kicks in next week, we'll see a little bit at the end of the window. Fingers crossed at least. Cardiff Met Uni, a couple of experienced ones coming in now. And moving some on to other clubs as well. Which takes us to Colwyn Bay. Stars of the summer by a long shot. Snuck into Europe, they're a professional side. They've made the biggest deal aside from us as well. And in fact, it might be the biggest deal of the window. Because I don't think we've signed anyone for a fee. So he's 70 grand up front. He's a brilliant number 10. And he's already shown his worth in Europe and domestically. So I think he's going to be a superstar of the Welsh League. Earning over £1,000 a week, which I found interesting too. They've got a goalkeeper in from Fleetwood, who's very solid at 32 years of age. And they've also brought in a couple of good squad players, like Connor Smith, the right back from Cardiff Met Uni. And Zach Dibble, a young Welsh left back, who's not the best technically, but really quick, really good engine. And he's also very good mentally too. So they're making the biggest stride this summer, I would say, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can get into Europe consistently, what that'll do for them moving forward. But let's have a look at the schedule, because we're expecting to get through that Champions League second leg pretty comfortably. The fact we didn't concede an away goal did help. And that would suggest that we're going to be back between Cardiff Met Uni and Kefan Druids there, where we should have our first Champions League group stage match. Of course, it could end up turning into a Europa League one if it does all go horribly wrong. But we should have some transfer news. We should have some excitement in Welsh football. And unless there's an absolute disaster, we're going to have a minimum of 3 sides playing in either the Champions League or Europa League group stages. That is history for Welsh football. If you want to find out how the season progresses with all of that happening though, please do put a thumbs up on this video and subscribe down below for daily FM21 content. New videos from this series every weekday at 3:30. Specials at the weekend. We finished our Welsh reputation experiment last Sunday. We've got a brand new series coming this weekend too. There's also links in the eye above to the Twitch channel, to the football podcast, and a recent matchday vlog, a little bonus video from last week. So please do check them out if you haven't already. But a massive thank you for watching, for supporting along for another season. I'm really looking forward to this one, because I feel like this is the one where progress can really be made. So let's see if I'm right to be excited, or if I'm going to be left frustrated come the end of the year. I'll see you next time.